Kevin Durant is now the only remaining superstar left in Brooklyn after the Nets traded Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. What does this mean for Kevin Durant's future in Brooklyn? Will he be traded elsewhere before Thursday's trade deadline? Let us know in the comments. What do you feel about that? Make sure you comment and subscribe. And let us know if you're Team Scott or Team Matt afterwards. And shout out to our guy right here for a dope comment on our recent video. Now we got all the particulars out of the way, Matt.
Now the fun stuff.
Let's get into this discussion.
The meat and potatoes.
Here,
let's do it.
Do you think Kevin Durant gets traded? And if so, where?
You know, I'm leaning more towards that, even though they always say no. But he demanded a trade before the season.
Sure did.
It doesn't seem like he's too thrilled about Ben Simmons. And
That's a good point.
I mean, and do you really think Spencer Dinwiddie is great, but does he move the needle? I mean, this still looks like a Nets team that is going to completely live and die by if Kevin Durant can handle the load.
Can he be Superman?
And yeah, can he be Superman? And I don't doubt he can, but I think he'd like to just take a break every once in a while. And the other thing is that the Nets will not have more leverage than right now because teams are going to be willing to throw a little extra because if you get Kevin Durant, you're automatically a title contender. And I think the one to do it is a team that's already made a move similar to this recently, and it worked out exactly how you would hope it would, and that is with the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors are in limbo right now. They have a good team. They have a playoff team. We both said that they're missing that Kevin Durant level superstar to take them over the top. And they have pieces that you can give, not only draft picks, but they have specific players and pieces that you could give the Nets.
Who the Nets might actually want.
That they would actually want. And basically set the Nets up to be like, all right, we don't have that superstar, but we have basically the Brooklyn Nets before Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving got there, which is a low-level playoff team that is just missing the superstar. And you can almost just basically hit the reset button, forget about James Harden, forget about Kevin Durant. That never happened. And then you give Toronto that superstar they need that led them to a finals championship the last time they made a move like this. It's Kawhi Leonard 2.0, but with Kevin Durant. And I think it also works in Durant's favor because it continues to help him with, I guess you could say, almost that narrative that he, sided with and got a bunch of help with Steph Curry. He could lead that team just like Kawhi Leonard did. And I think it'd be extremely exciting, and it would definitely throw a new twist into the Eastern Conference.
Absolutely. I mean, that destination makes sense. Obviously, Raptors decision maker Masai Ujiri is known for making these big kind of slashes.
He's not afraid. Yeah.
Obviously, notably, Kawhi Leonard, but and again, he also is in a situation where he has young, talented players like Oju Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent even, who could be moved in addition to some draft picks for somebody like Kevin Durant. So I don't hate that idea at all. I'm thinking, first off, before I get into mine, I think you do too. I think it's very viable that Kevin Durant stays in Brooklyn. And I don't think it's the worst idea either.
No,
I think the Nets kind of came out decent out of the Kyrie Irving trade, getting a first round pick, a couple of seconds in addition to Dorian Finney-Smith and obviously Spencer Dinwiddie. I think those two guys, in addition to, Kevin Durant and what the Nets have, that's a top 4 team. That's a third or fourth best team in the Eastern Conference, I think, to me at this point, assuming Kevin Durant returns from injury like the Kevin Durant we all know and expect to do so. So I don't think it's the end of the world if Kevin Durant stays in Brooklyn. But if he does get traded, I think the New Orleans Pelicans are a fascinating landing spot.
Okay.
Obviously, the Pelicans also, like the Toronto Raptors, have young guys like Herb Jones, like Trey Murphy, like Devontae Graham as well, who could be thrown into a deal in addition to draft picks that the New Orleans Pelicans still have from the Anthony Davis trade, from the Jrue Holiday trade. So the Pelicans definitely have players and picks to woo, Kevin Durant away from the Brooklyn Nets. And if that happens, and you got Zion, and you got Brandon Ingram in addition to Kevin Durant and a wide open Western.
On to Brandon Ingram?
I think so. I think that's been the reporting that the Pelicans would covet. Obviously, they would want to keep Brandon Ingram. Obviously, you want to keep a talent like Brandon Ingram on your squad. But I think, 3 or 4 of those players, in addition to multiple first round picks, might get the job done, if you're the Pelicans trying to, get Kevin Durant away from, Brooklyn. So I think that would be fascinating. Again, in a wide open West, that big 3 would be pretty much unmatched. That would be my lock to make it out of the Western Conference if the Pelicans are somehow obviously able to land Kevin Durant.
I hadn't thought about the Pelicans. I like the points you make. I think the biggest question would be if the Nets are willing to go with more picks rather than get like a bona fide star like a Brandon Ingram, because I think that's the move. That's going to be the piece that kind of is the linchpin of something like that. CJ McCollum would be great, but that's, again, more of a throw-in because it's an older guy who's still playing great, but be a good vet. It's interesting. I think the thing at the end of the day is going to be, do the Nets want picks or do they want to be able to quickly pivot and get players instead, and how much of which is going to be that combination?
For sure. I think once you have Kevin Durant, I think obviously the Kyrie Irving trade told us that the Nets still very much value this season in the immediate future.
Yes.
I think that might change if obviously you deal Kevin Durant, because certainly you're making a decision for your future rather than your present. But and again, I don't know if a potential Toronto Raptors deal, depending on who's involved. Obviously, OG or Pascal would be better than anybody.
Well, I think OG, and the big talk about that is the Raptors want players. They don't want the Raptors in particular. They're not planning on doing a full rebuild with draft picks. They have young talent. They have been to the playoffs. They've been able to pivot after losing a superstar. If you send OG away, you're going to be wanting players that you could add, and I think Durant would be obviously a big part of that package.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Again, it wouldn't surprise either of us if Kevin Durant stayed in Brooklyn, but if he does get traded, it would throw a monkey wrench into the entire NBA landscape. The Pelicans and the Raptors would be two intriguing spots for sure.
Let us know never disappoints.
If your team Scott with the Pels or your team Matt with the Raptors. But we'll catch you next time on Simple Questions. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out our other videos and don't forget to smack that subscribe button down below while you're at it. Also, for more great and original content, head right over to bvmsports.com.